Hey, what is up guys, and welcome to Should You Play Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 is of course the third iteration in the Black Ops series. You didn't need me to tell you that. But it's essentially Black Ops 3 and kind of Advanced Warfare 2 at the same time in the terms of the mechanics, because things have sort of stayed the same yet continued along with the Black Ops 3 trend, and I'll get onto that in a bit later. First thing to do, we are going to be going over the multiplayer really today. I'll be mentioning the zombies, but I haven't really played any of the campaign yet, so I'll be mentioning that later in a separate video. But first, let's quickly go into the options menu and show you what everything is all about. Identity, this is you here, I have not changed anything. But you can sort of change everything up, and you've got loads of different combinations of guns and things like that, so you can change how they look and are a bit more unique to you. You've also got challenges, as you're probably used to in Call of Duty, barracks, media, so you can share your game clips and things like that. Nothing really we haven't seen before. Options menu wise, full controls, you can customize everything as usual. One thing that is new is that you've got split screen, so you can actually, this is of course running the PC version, you can actually now play your games with two people, which is really nice. So I was playing some zombies on a big 4K TV with two controllers, something you cannot do of course in native resolution on a console. This is the options menu, nice and easy, not too much here. Maximum frames a second is quite useful. There is definitely, at least for me, what seems to be like a VSync issue on certain monitors. I'm not sure why this is. I think two of the monitors I've tested it on has been a bit funny. But one super high refresh rate, 120 Hz, one has been fine. Going on to the advanced section, we've got a lot of cool settings here. So dynamic shadows, subsurface scattering, order independent transparency, and volumetric lighting. I've turned these off just for the sake of grabbing a little bit extra performance. This is all running on a GTX 980, and if I was running it at 1080p 60, then I would almost certainly have everything on. Anti-aliasing, we've got a choice between SMAA as before and TXAA, FXAA. So FXAA is probably the one you're going to want if you are running low on a bit performance, but obviously bump it up to SMAA if you've got a bit more performance to spare. Shadow map quality, extra. Texture quality, extra. Still annoys me why extra is a thing. I'm assuming this means it's not in the next generation consoles, but it seems like we'll never know. And then you've just got some basic player indicator, split screen orientation settings. But nothing too interesting there. Audio settings, usual sort of stuff. You've got different presets. Nothing too exciting that we again haven't seen before. Video chat network, so it tells you stuff about all your connection, and it's quite nice that these are hidden here, so you can see that if I click show, which obviously I won't, it will show you all my IP address and things like that, which is quite good. And you can have a connection meter, so if you are having problems you can see what's going on. Music tracks coming soon. So that is everything really there is to see, other than a content filter, but I don't know why anyone would buy Call of Duty and turn that off. I guess that's if you really want your young children to have this, but without any of the gore. Anyway, let's get into a game, and we can properly talk about everything that is Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I'll be going over the loadouts at the end of the game. There's no point sort of procrastinating. Let's get straight in. We'll just be doing some team deathmatch, but I've pretty much played most of the modes, including some of the new ones, some of which are quite cool, some of which are just a bit meh. But one thing's for sure, it's definitely got a lot more variety than Star Wars Battlefront does, which, although it has a load of different modes, most of them are just almost mini versions of the real big Walker Assault, and we don't have any such problem here. Right, so I'm playing on a 85 Hz monitor at the moment, and it's significantly smoother than it would be if I was playing it on a 60 Hz monitor. But it depends entirely, of course, on what monitor you have. My theory is that if you're running a resolution refresh rate, so not resolution, if you're running a refresh rate that's odd, so something like 75 Hz, I think you're going to run into a little bit of a VSync issue, and even turning on VSync or turning off VSync, any combination of the two, adaptive, doesn't seem to help too much. And in terms of general game performance, I've definitely found that the PC version has a slight issue, whereby you'll get almost like seemingly random frames per second drops, no matter what resolution you're playing on, and it will be quite jarring. And I think this is probably a problem, it's a widely reported issue with the game, because you'd think that dropping from 100 frames a second to 80 wouldn't be that noticeable, but it's almost like the game properly hangs and pauses. So I think there's clearly some other strange thing going on that's a little bit confusing, but I don't know exactly what it is. But be aware that if you are looking to purchase this game, a lot of people are, at least on the PC, are having a sort of similar issue, unfortunately. But we are in a advanced warfare type style, in the sense that we've got the boost jump, we've got the wall running and things like that. I still think Titanfall is the king of this sort of mechanics, and while it's nice to have it in Call of Duty, I do think it makes the game a little bit more fluid. I think it's easier to sort of get around the map. It doesn't really work because, again, you still have those invisible walls and roofs and things like that that you can't jump on, and it's just quite annoying, because I think either keep it as it is, have it as a a floor-based shooter with a few ramps and things like that, or have it so you can pretty much go anywhere. And I know that this isn't going to happen, because that's just not what Call of Duty is, and it's not trying to be it, but it just is always going to feel a bit lacking for me, to be perfectly honest. And that's where Titanfall gets it so much better. You can go anywhere you want, but if you go somewhere they really don't want you to go, so if you like eject off a Titan and you land on a roof somewhere, then it gives you 10 seconds to leave, rather than just throwing up an invisible wall and just generally pissing you off. But general fluidity, pretty damn good, and I'm actually I'm almost used to it now, because it's basically the same as it was in Advanced Warfare. Something that is completely different, though, is these specialists. And you see here I'm playing as this dude. That's no accident. You have specialists, and if you've played the beta, you'll know all about this. Each specialist has 2 abilities, and these special abilities unlock throughout the game. So on average, you'll probably get to use it 2 or 3 times, depending on your score. But you can basically kill everyone with almost like a kill streak, but it's unique to you, and you don't have to be a really good player to get it. So this is the one that we saw actually someone use on me, which is basically like a big titany boom on the floor with a load of some sort of gravity-based weapons. So spikes that create an explosive shockwave when slammed into the ground, destroying all enemies within close range. So there's that. Overdrive. The one I'm playing as, I sometimes play as Outrider actually, which has this cool little bow called the Sparrow, which is an explosive bow. But you unlock more as you proceed, but you get a nice amount of choice at the beginning of the game, and you can see you unlock more as you go ahead. I imagine the DLC will probably have more specialists and things like that. Score streaks are just kill streaks that require score rather than straight kills. So if you want to be a team player, then you also get your score. This isn't really anything new, and it's something we have definitely seen before. I like this pre-game screen, actually. I have to say it's pretty good. Right, we go for the sniper class, and we show you the sniping. But again, this is just classic Call of Duty, which always feels really nice. It's not really the most sort of realistic thing that you can just go and aim like that, but there we go. Nothing really too, oh dear, too drastic changed here, really. And that's just a sort of common theme, I guess. But you didn't expect anything different, did you? Oh dear, oh dear. Can I, that would be amazing. Yes, I can. And that's actually quite good for me. Thank you. Let's take him out. Ah, should have got him there, should have got him. Should have got him. So yeah, gun handling feels nice and tight anyway. There's a few things that are slightly weird, especially if you play in hardcore. The sort of weapons that are unique to you just basically become a bit pointless, because a pistol is a one-shot kill, and having a gun that's really powerful in normal, that's a one-shot kill that takes 3 seconds to fire, becomes completely redundant and pretty pointless. So that's a slight balance issue, but generally balances seem to be pretty good. Map variety is pretty nice, and it's just do you remember a few years ago everyone was really bored? This was mainly the sort of time that Battlefield 3 came out. Everyone was really bored of Call of Duty, and it was exactly the same. There weren't, well, again, this is what people were saying, I'm not going to say whether it's true or not, but people were saying it hasn't changed, it's just the same Call of Duty, don't buy it, buy Battlefield. And now we've just got more and more games with different variety. There's plenty of choices, no matter if you're on a console or on a PC. There's loads and loads of different first-person shooters that do different things. And people seem to have forgotten that Call of Duty is still being Call of Duty. And even though we've got the wall running stuff, and again, this isn't new, this was in Advanced Warfare, it feels almost like a nice warm hug, to be perfectly honest. But if you are someone that does play Call of Duty every single year, then it's going to be the classic bittersweet sort of Call of Duty experience, where not that much really has changed. But it's more Call of Duty, and personally, I'm alright with that at the moment, because I think these days people know exactly what they want. There's loads of different choices out there, and it's still a very fun experience, and I have been playing this for a couple of weeks now, and I'm just not bored at all. Whether I'm going to be able to say that next month is debatable, and I had, with the original World at War game, my fix of like a year-long Call of Duty. I played it all year long, didn't really play anything else. And that's not me anymore. That's not going to happen. I will move on. But you get a lot of content for your money. There's no disputing that. And personally, I know it sounds bad. I really can't notice too much of a difference, other than actually performance is better than Advanced Warfare. Other than that, there's not really that much to me picking up a Call of Duty game after maybe 8 months after last playing the last one. It doesn't really seem that different. But I'm alright with that. It's different maps, there are some new features. Personally, as someone that doesn't go mental on Call of Duty anymore, I'm alright with that. But the problem is that we've got Star Wars Battlefront, we've got Fallout 4, we've got Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and it's becoming FIFA, of course, but that was a while ago now. It's just becoming a bit more of a harder sell, in my opinion, because there are so many good games out there that a lot of people just aren't going to bother buying something that is essentially very, very similar to what they had before. But that is just Call of Duty. There's no real reason for them to change too much. And the performance, I think, of this shows that if they do change things, they can potentially get things wrong and upset people. One of the best things that I liked about Black Ops 2 was that the performance was stellar. There was never any issues, at least for me. I could get a constant 120 frames a second. And obviously the performance is going to be worse in a newer game. You know, that's right, the game should move on. But we shouldn't be getting these serious dips. The whole point of Call of Duty is meant to be nice and smooth. And this game, unfortunately, at least for me, and I know for a few people, just hasn't really been that, which is a shame. But, of course, it's not just the multiplayer that you get. You get a full campaign, which the same can't be said for Battlefront. That's just not the way they do it. And granted, a lot of people sort of only play the multiplayer on Call of Duty, and that's fine. No problems with that. I don't think you should have a problem with that, because it is basically all about the multiplayer. But at least it's got that value proposition going for it as well. But it's also got a very, very excellent, at least in my opinion, zombies mode, and I've been playing that more than anything else. I still haven't got as far as I'd like, but Treyarch really do zombies, and really, really well, I have to say. The experience is really nice and deep. There is only one map, or at least that I've discovered. If there is another one, you probably have to unlock it at the end of the campaign, but I haven't discovered that. But it's a really nice, deep experience that I know there's plenty of stuff for you to do. And going back to the original Black Ops, the favourite thing about that for me was hooking up with 4 players and just doing the zombies mode. I did that across all the maps. I didn't mind paying for the map packs personally, because the zombies was that strong. And it is good to have the choice between 3 modes, 3 big modes at least. And then, of course, multiplayer has quite a nice selection of its own modes. But there's definitely a lot of variety. And in terms of value, unless you are a really big single-player buff, this probably is better value than most games out there. But I don't know whether that's enough these days. But then again, there's probably quite an easy question for you to answer. Do you want more of the same? I mean, I don't know what more I would want changed with Call of Duty, really. The main thing I want from a Call of Duty game is a familiar experience. I want it to look better and better with each iteration, but I want it to be nice and smooth, and it gets most of those things, it just doesn't quite handle the smoothness. Hopefully it can be patched anyway. But yeah. What do I think? What do I think? If I have to say overall, if I had to rate it, what would I say? I would say we have a game that is worth buying for sure, if you like Call of Duty. But that's the most boring way of putting it. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is. I mean, what here in this creator class thing, I could say you've got all these different features. Some have been slightly tweaked. But let's be honest, it's more or less the same as it always is. You get a gun, you level it up, you can add new attachments, you have a certain amount of unlock tokens and points and stuff, but it's just nothing we haven't seen before. I'm alright with that. Are you? I think that's the question. So, that really has been my main summary, and should you play Call of Duty Black Ops 3? There's not really too much to talk about, really, because there's not too much different. I'm alright with that. Are you? Thank you so much for checking out Should You Play Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I will be playing this. If you want more information about this game and you want to know more about the zombies mode, you want to know more about the campaign mode, I would say stick with the casual plays that will happen every Wednesday. And as soon as we play some zombies, as soon as we talk about the multiplayer, talk about the campaign, you can join me and you can get some more opinions there. And of course, if you tune in live, then you'll be able to ask any questions directly as well. But there's just sort of a few things maybe that I've missed in this review that maybe you should ask me, and then I'll be able to tell you. I'm going to stop talking in this voice now, and I'm going to continue playing the game. Thank you so much for checking out Call of Duty. Well, should you play Call of Duty Black Ops 3? And I'll see you in the next one. But I will see how far I can get first. This is it. If I go without dying this entire game, then this review will go on for another 10 minutes. We shall see. Okay, well it didn't. Thank you very much. See you next time.